I'm back for another review. It's been probably close to 2 weeks. Just been dealing with a lot of problems with my eye, and I'm dealing with knee pain and stuff. But anyway, I get my surgery tomorrow, and I figured I'd just do a video before I have all that done, and you can enjoy my review. Now, the review I'm going to do is a little different. As you can tell from the thumbnail, it's the Roger Corman's Cult Classics All Night Marathon Sword and Sorcery Collection. Now, this contains Deathstalker, Deathstalker 2, Barbarian Queen, and the Warrior and the Sorceress. Now, a little close up here. I don't know how bad the glare is going to be, but that's the collection. This is the back of it. This is the inside. So basically, the review is pertaining to all four films. Now, this is a great collection. I wish they had put in Deathstalker 3 and 4, because I know the third one, as far as the U.S., has not been released on DVD. Now, the fourth one is on DVD, but it can go for a pretty high price. The Deathstalker series of films, they are definitely for certain tastes. Just basically, they're for certain people's tastes, because they're pretty graphic, and they've got some fairly a lot of nudity in them. And Rick Hill, who plays Deathstalker in the first one, and also he returns for the fourth film, he did a pretty good part as Deathstalker. And John Terlansky, who played Deathstalker 2. So yeah, the first one is more of a fantasy, sword and sorcery kind of type film. The one thing that I really thought was really cool about the first movie was the killer, or not the killer, the wizard Munkar, and the guy who played him. And he's this guy right here. I believe his name is Bernard Erhard, and he passed away, but he did do a lot of voices for like cartoons in the 80s. And this also, the first Deathstalker also stars Barbara Benton, who was actually a Playboy playmate, and it has the late Lana Clarkson and Richard Brooker, who also plays in this film, who went on to play in Friday the 13th Part 3 as Jason Voorhees. He's passed away as well. Now, the first one movie has some makeup effects by John Carl Buechler, who's also passed away, and a lot of the action is fairly decent. A lot of the special effects are pretty good. And it does have a little bit of rape in it, and it does have a lot of gore, and it does have some nudity. But for all intents and purposes, I would actually rate this movie fairly high, not extremely high. I kind of vary when I give a rating when it comes to certain films, and this is one of them. I would probably give this a 6.5 on the Richter scale. Would I recommend it? Like I said, it's definitely for somebody who likes fantasy and sword and sorcery films. It's not my top favorite. That goes to Crawl or Hawk the Slayer. Now, Deathstalker 2, which is also titled Deathstalker 2 Duel of the Titans. Deathstalker 2 has John Terlansky, who, like I mentioned before, who directs movies now, and it also stars Monique Gabriel. Monique Gabriel actually went on to play in Bachelor Party, and she actually played Bachelor Party before this, because this came out in 1987. The first one was made in 83, but didn't get released until 84. But Deathstalker 2, she plays two roles. She plays a good princess, and she plays a bad princess. And then you also have, it's directed by Jim Wynorski. Now, a lot of people know who Jim Wynorski is. He does a lot of low-budget films, and he's been doing that for many years. He went on to do The Return of Swamp Thing in 1989. So a lot of the humor in this is part of him, because there's a lot more humor in this than there is in the first film. This also stars the former Glow wrestler, which is Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, Queen Kong. She's also in this film as well. Now, Deathstalker 2, I would give this probably a 7, because some of the humor actually is pretty funny. And it's like I said, I prefer the first movie, but the second one is good too. Now, when you get to the third and the fourth, it actually starts to get ludicrous, and just pretty much the same stuff. Now John Allen Nelson, who played Deathstalker in Part 3, which is also called Deathstalker 3: Warriors from Hell, he did a pretty good role as Deathstalker. And then Richard Hill returned from the first one to play in Deathstalker 4: Match of the Titans. Now, those two films, the first two films are, out of the four, I would recommend more than I would recommend 3 and 4. Now, 3, I'd probably give that a 6. And 4, I've actually only seen 4 3 times. And then the 3 times I've actually seen the fourth one, I gave it a 5. So, if I ever get around watching it again, I will definitely probably get a better rating for that. Now, when you get in the third film on here, Barbarian Queen, there's actually 2 films in this. This actually stars Lana Clarkson, who played in the first Deathstalker. She played in Barbarian Queen, and then she played in Barbarian Queen 2. I think it was titled The Empress Strikes Back. Now, it's pretty much the same as these films, except for it's more of the female-oriented sword and sorcery fantasy films. And she did okay. It's got a lot of other actresses in this film. I believe Kat Shea plays in this, yeah. She played in this. She went on to direct Poison Ivy, and she also directed The Rage Carrie 2. She was an actress before that. There's also Dawn Dunlap, who actually played in, what was that film? Forbidden World. She played in Forbidden World before this. So this movie was made in 1985. So this is a couple years after the first Deathstalker. Now, Barbarian Queen, like I said, the other films, they do have some nudity, and that's pretty much what the low-budget Roger Corman's sword and sorcery films were, is mainly, the sword play, the special effects, and a lot of nudity, because that's a lot of what Roger Corman was doing back in the 80s and most of the 90s. And if you want to get any further, probably the 70s as well. And Barbarian Queen is not the greatest of the films in the sword and sorcery genre, but like I said, it's not for everyone's taste. I would give Barbarian Queen a 6, and it's got some great scenes in it and stuff like that. Sadly, Lana Clarkson, she passed away. She was murdered by her, I guess it was her boyfriend or her husband. And but yeah, she did a great performance. And then the final film on here is The Warrior and the Sorceress, which is played by the late David Carradine. Seems like a lot of people have died playing in these films later in life, but David Carradine plays a pretty good character, and his name is Kane, which is spelled different from his character on Kung Fu. The Legend Continues and Kung Fu from the 70s. And it's okay. I mean, there is a woman in the film that is pretty much naked throughout the whole film. She walks around with, like, her boobs exposed and stuff like I said, it's not for everybody's taste. So, if you're not into seeing a woman naked throughout a movie or whatever, this is definitely not for you. But, The Warrior and Sorceress, as far as the film goes, I'd give it a 6. I mean, there is some good sword play in the film and other things. Now, there's another film that's not related to this. There's a movie called Ator the Fighting Eagle that stars Miles O'Keefe that came around all this sword and sorcery stuff, which was a big thing in the 80s. I mean, you had the Deathstalker films, you had the Warrior and Sorcery, you had the Barbarian Queen, you had Amazons, you had Crawl, you had Space Hunter: The Witcher's Forbidden Zone, which had like a sci-fi connection to it. You had a Metal Storm: The Destruction of Jaredson. You had tons of them, and there was one actually called The Sword and the Sorceress, and there was one called Sorceress, and it just goes on and on. But I think it kind of died out towards the beginning of the 90s. Not too many films like that have come in past 20 years. Now, there was another one that I really enjoyed. It was called The Barbarians, which starred David and Peter Paul, the Barbarian brothers that were former wrestlers. and sadly, one of them passed away this year. But The Barbarians was a great film. Anyway, out of all these four films, my personal pick out of that I would watch all the time would be the first one, even though you can obviously tell the low budget that they had and the certain things in the movie that you not want to keep repeat watching. But other than that, that's the one I would recommend. And as far as the set goes, it's pretty good. I mean, I believe these are also on Blu-ray. I don't know if this exact set is on Blu-ray, but I know the first two Deathstalkers are on Blu-ray. And the special features on Deathstalker, you have an auto commentary, a theatrical trailer, and the second one you have a commentary and a theatrical trailer. There's really nothing on Barbarian Queen and the Warrior Sorceress. Now this is just he's never really came out with the third and fourth one, which I would like to have it just to be a completist as I am. I would like to have those. I do have them on a VHS, but I'd rather have them put on DVD. And so hopefully you've enjoyed this review. And like I said, it's been a couple weeks since I've done a review. I just got it dealing with health issues and stuff like that. But like I said, I have a surgery tomorrow on my left knee, and I'm going to try to do some videos why I am getting myself back to getting into work. I'm going to try to do a couple of videos each week. I'm not sure when. I'll probably just pop on like I did today, just pop up and do a video. So hopefully you can bear with me and stay subscribed. And like I always enjoy seeing the comments down below. So if you have any comments, leave them down below. And like I always say, just keep watching because I enjoy doing these and I enjoy getting feedback from them. So thank you again, and I'll catch you later.